game is mine, the game is mine, the game is mine.
Player T, that's me, Hollywood in the hood, doing it really big. You see who I'm with right here. But if you still sleeping, I got the Prince of Pan-Africanism right here, Dr. Umar Johnson.
Only reason why it's still there is because it provides jobs for white women.
Oh!
Thousands of jobs for white women.
Somebody got to tell the truth, man. How do you get that to take hold around the country where administrators, people that open up schools, where they want to listen to you and then they actually think about it and then employ that thought?
Well, the thing is, I've really never had anyone in a strategic, mainstream way to take issue with my message. It's indefensible. My truth is nothing but the truth. So you can't debunk it.
Right.
Because it's the truth. They're just not used to a black man with my credentials telling the black truth as unapologetically as I do. So what do you do with someone whose truth you don't want to admit to? You have to hide them under the radar. You have to keep them off of Oprah. You got to keep them off of
or you put out a smear campaign.
Or you put out the smear campaign, because the truth is, nobody, if you notice, none of my detractors ever attack my work. Yeah. They never attack the work. It's always
something offhand.
Personality, personal life lies that they fabricate, but you can't touch the work.
We'll clear one thing up for me. I don't mean to jump around. The academy itself.
Yes.
Like, we came across some real discerning stuff. Like, there was actually a social media page designed to smear you.
Yes, sir. 2 of them.
I couldn't believe it. And one thing they were harping on was the academy. They don't believe it's true. They're saying it's built on toxic land. And,
oh, no, that's not true.
And they took issue with your ownership of the school.
Yeah. Well, they take issue with anything I do. Here's the thing you got to understand. When I came into the national black conscious movement, first of all, my foundation is Marcus Garvey. In Philadelphia, right around the corner from the school where I had the Black History class, I joined the Marcus Garvey's movement, the UNIA. In Philadelphia, just so happened to be international headquarters for Marcus Garvey's UNIA. So this is a neighborhood I grew up in. Right. So again, no coincidences, right? And my mother used to buy my sneakers right next door to the Garvey Hall for years, but I never knew it was the Garvey Hall. So I joined the UNIA when I came out of undergrad in 1997, and I never looked back. So I've been in the UNIA more than 20 years. And it was sitting with those elders. They really nurtured my political understanding. They really helped me improve my mastery of revolutionary Pan-African nationalism, of Garveyism, universal African nationalism. And I worked for them. And I was largely local, though. I was largely local. The school psychologist.
Like the tri-state area or Philadelphia?
Philadelphia.
Okay.
My first out-of-town speaking engagements was through the UNIA.
Okay.
New York, North Carolina, Atlanta.
New York, the home of culture.
Right? Yeah. But then in 2010, everything changed. And that was when I was invited to Chicago on an interview just like this, public access. Brother Dawa Yisrael, Hebrew brother, good brother out of Chicago. He called me up because I write articles. I love to write. And he said, I'm reading an article someone sent me, and I would love to interview you on my show. Yeah. I can't afford to fly you up here, but if you can get to Chicago, I would love to interview you. So I said, wow, Chicago, that's the second largest black metropolis. So I said, yes, I have to get to Chicago. So I flew on up. Yeah. We did the interview. I didn't think nothing of it. Yeah. I asked him for a copy of the DVD, which he gave me. Yeah. And then I was scheduled to speak in Harlem, New York for the first time.
Okay.
3 weeks later. Yeah. I took copies of the Chicago interview, gave them out. Within 48 hours, I was known internationally around the world. Like, literally, my phone did not stop ringing for about 30 days.
Oh!
And every time it rung, it was a different area code. And not just America. I was getting calls from Africa, Jamaica, Europe, all off that one interview. People said, who is this guy? And that's where the jealousy came from, because there were other personalities who were already in a conscious movement, but they had not gotten to where I've gotten in 2 days, even though I've been working for 20 years.
Right.
You know, and so that's where the animosity came from. How can he really have a doctorate degree from a mainstream white university talking the way he talks?
Yeah.
You know, how can he be a certified school psychologist talking the way that he talks? You know, so that's when the doubt crept in and the jealousy crept in, you know, because when you look at the Black consciousness movement, you know, it has a lot of good things about it, but a lot of the people in it are hustlers. You know, they're con artists. They're not really about change. They just want to make money and make a name for themselves. I'm the only one in my age group who has purchased an institution. No one else has.
Oh!
And that institution is the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. I learned I was related to Frederick Douglass. We were walking in the back of a church, all this Frederick Douglass memorabilia. And I asked my father, I said, what's all this? And he said, you're related to him. And I said, wow.
Oh, your dad was able to communicate that to you.
Yeah, because I'm related to Frederick Douglass on my father.
On your father's side.
You know, through my grandmother, whose 1 year anniversary of her passing will be, I guess, Monday or Tuesday, April the 30th. She left this world April the 30th last year, and we were very tight. When
you found that out, did it sort of validate you on your decision to go the direction you were going?
When I found that out, it made my love for Black history and my love for public speaking that much more relevant, because now, as an 11-year-old child, I'm feeling an obligation to uphold the work, because now I'm a bloodline relative of one of our greatest leaders. So that naturally put me in a mindset that says, maybe I'm chosen too.
Okay.
You know, and so ever since then, you know, it's not new. Theft.
Yeah.
Basically, Pookie and Ray Ray got in there.
Got the pipes, the copper.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
They ripped the sinks out, the toilets out, ripped the pipes out for $100 worth of copper. They caused $1 million worth of damage. And so now we're trying to raise money to refurbish the school. It's a beautiful school, though.
You're doing
These are modern buildings. These are modern now. I want to be clear. These are not the old schools.
Okay.
This is when a charter school got their charter.
Yeah.
They invested $13 million
in that school.
So what we have purchased with the money we raised.
Yeah, they ain't talk about that. You hate us.
$13 million property. Now they were selling it for over $1 million, but it originally was built, renovated from the ground up.
Okay.
$13 million. So when you walk in the school, you'll see what I'm talking about.
You don't know why they lost the charter?
Of course we know why they lost the charter. The same reason why all Black charter schools lose their charter.
Oh, it was a Black school.
It was a Black charter school. Okay. Financial mismanagement. These are the reasons.
Yeah.
Okay. In their case, it was financial mismanagement, but I want to clarify. It's not that they did anything wrong. It's called racism. They'll go in and look at your books and they'll fabricate a financial issue, even if it wasn't.
Yeah.
But they normally shut down. They normally shut down Black charters for financial mismanagement, not having enough certified teachers, and low test scores.
Wow.
That's why they didn't want a charter school. People ask me, they say, why don't you just open up a charter? You're a certified principal. You're a certified school psychologist. You're a doctor. Why you want to do it the Marcus Garvey way? What's with this self-determination? All Black dollars, no white dollars. I said, if I open up a charter school, I give them the power to shut me down whenever they feel like it.
Yeah.
Look at this school that I got. It was renovated, brand new, $13 million. They lost their charter. Did the state care that you just spent $13 million on the school? Hell no. That's why when you walk around, if you ever see these brand new schools closed down, you say, why is this school? This school look like it just was built? It was a charter school. They invested their money in a new building for their students, as they should.
Yeah.
And then the state comes in and they sabotage.
Well, let me ask you something. When you acquired the academy, did any of the old patrons of the building want to be involved with your with your school?
Well, yes, there's brothers and sisters in Wilmington, Delaware, who were formerly affiliated with the school, who have expressed interest in being affiliated and involved with my school. Okay. But obviously there's some very clear differences, right?
Yes.
That was a charter school, which means it's owned by the state. Nobody owns the charter school.
Right.
By definition, a charter school is an alternative public school. Okay. My school is an independent, African-centered academy, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing things a little bit differently. So at my school, we're going to teach political and military science. We're going to teach economic and financial science.
Political and military science.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to have a Marcus Garvey gun club. The young men will they will get their first gun. They will learn how to use it, how to clean it. Yes, legally now, we're going to follow the state laws, but there will be auxiliaries connected to the school, not a direct part of the school, but auxiliaries connected to the school. And we will teach the young men how to use firearms responsibly in elementary school.
Oh, now hold on.
That's when everybody else learned.
Yeah.
That's when Jews learned.
I mean,
that's when Italians learned.
they're
That's when
arming
Anglo-Saxons
they're
learned.
arming the teachers.
Exactly.
They're arming the teachers, so it only makes sense. Your plan with that, is it early on with the plan right now? It's like, are people trying to come up against you because of that? Like,
No. Well, it all depends on who you're speaking of. White folks haven't even. It's all Negro attacks at this point.
Oh wow!
This has all been Negro. This is all Negro.
Yeah.
This is all Negro.
Yeah.
A lot of it is being fueled by jealous personalities in the conscious. You got to understand something. I'm a better speaker than anybody else. I have more education than anybody else. I'm the only one with an institution. I get more requested to speak around the world than anybody else. I speak more outside the country than all to put together in the country.
Right.
So you got to recognize my stature within Black consciousness. I don't have an equal.
Yeah.
Nor do I have a what do you want to call it? I don't even have a contemporary. There's no other school psychologist in the Black consciousness. We have a lot of people talking about history.
Yeah.
We got a lot of people talking about spirituality. We got a lot of people talking about diet. I'm the only person dealing with school psychology. So my space, you can't say, well, we don't want to hear from Dr. Umar no more. Let's go and get him.
Yeah.
You don't have nobody else to fill this.
Right.
You understand? So that's where the jealousy comes from, because I'm irreplaceable.
Yeah.
And I don't have a YouTube channel.
Right.
But I have more videos on YouTube than everybody with a channel put together. Wow. I don't have a channel. So do you know what that means? That means people love me and my work so much that they upload everything I say without me asking them to do it. And they do it at a rate greater than the self-promoters do put together.
Oh! Really big.
And I say that humbly, but I'm untouchable. And when it comes to, if I never built, and see, this is the point I got to say this. If I never built the school, if I never built, let's say I never built it. Now we have it, right?
Right.
Let's say I never built it. I saved more Black boys from special ed than anybody in Black history. I've saved more Black boys from psychiatric med than anybody in Black history. I've empowered and educated more Black parents about the school to prison pipeline than anybody you can name in our history. Listen, I have changed the way Black parents deal with the school system.
Oh!
And I changed the way Black parents deal with the mental health system. I've changed it. Black parents in Ohio will never deal with schools again the way they've dealt with them after they listen to me tomorrow. You understand?
Yeah.
So even if I never built the school,
you already laid a seed.
My foundation is impeccable.
Yeah.
The school is just cherry on top, but it's a much necessary cherry. And I'm gonna tell you why. The Black consciousness movement has gotten overtaken with entertainment. It's all YouTube videos and talk.
Okay.
There's no organizing, no nation build, no institution building.
Right.
So by me building this school, purchasing this 4-building property, right?
Okay.
2 schools, 2 gyms, and a 4th building, I think a lot of people are starting to regain their confidence in the Black consciousness movement. You understand? Yeah. Because so many people was falling away. They said, this is nothing but mess. All y'all do is fight, gossip, entertainment. Nobody's changing nothing. It's all intellectual masturbation. Right. So now we have a brother with an institution now. Right. And I'm the only one in the conscious community with an institution. Yeah. You understand? Yeah. A physical brick and mortar institution dedicated to our people. And so now I think a lot of people are saying, okay, this brother is the real deal. Let's rock with him now. Yeah. You see? And so that's why I want all your listeners out there, your viewers, to donate, because now we got to fix the school.
Yeah.
So please, if you want to donate, you can go on your Cash App and donate to $FDMG School. Okay. If you don't have the Cash App, the full link is cash.me/$FDMG School. Okay. We need $1 million to fully rehab all 4 buildings. Yeah. But even if we only get a half of that, I should be able to get one of them 2 schools done. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah. So we still in a good position, because even if we only get some of that, when are
you projected to, like, when are you looking to?
No date until we fix it up. It's up to y'all.
No date.
It's up to y'all. I'm not putting no date out there. Yeah. It is up to the people. The people decide. You understand? Yeah. It's up to the people.
Yeah. So quit talking mess.
Yes.
Make it a reality if you don't think it's real.
Make it a reality.
You know, if you don't think it's real, make it a reality. Quit talking down on the brother and hating on the brother.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But I'm not worried about it, because none of the haters will be allowed to attend any function at the school. They being checked at the door. You know what I mean? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now,
but they're not getting it anyway. Like, excuse me, brother, all due respect.
Yeah.
you had some disrespectful things to say about the FDMG campaign, you have a lifetime ban, brother. You can't come in here the rest of your life.
Now, let me ask you a question, because I really got hip to you through the Hidden Colors series with Tariq, and we had a chance to rap with Tariq before. Really great guy. You guys got a great relationship?
No, we don't, but
no?
Next
okay,
question.
We ain't got to worry about that. Okay, now, your fame with Hidden Colors. A lot of people was listening to your message on there. You had, that's where I was like, yeah, this guy's, you know what he talking about. Yeah, he knows what he's talking. He's talking a little bit more than nostalgia. It makes sense. You know, more than history somewhere you wasn't there. Yeah. But you know, you talking ADHD, you talking black educate, the Holocaust, you talking all of this stuff. You know, so you know, how was it for you? You know, being in that, being a part of that Hidden Colors series, like how was it for your career? Did it help?
I wouldn't say it helped, because I was already at that time the hottest thing in consciousness. Okay. That's why he wanted me on it. Okay. I was the hottest thing in the country at that time. I would say for millennials and people who were not familiar with my work in the UNIA and my work within the school to prison pipeline, it may have been their first introduction to me. If you're a YouTuber. So if you're a social networker who's not in the streets, that may have been your first introduction to Dr. Umar. Okay. But if you are a serious organizer and community activist, you already knew who I was. So it all depends on where you were in your own political development within Black consciousness. You follow what I'm saying? Yes, if you was already in the streets, you already knew me. So there was people like, I already knew that brother. You know, I know him. I've been following him for years. He helped me with my children. But if you're not in the streets and you just on YouTube, then that might have been your first introduction to me.
Now, you're author as well. You got the psychoacademic Holocaust,
the special education and ADHD wars against Black boys. My second book, which I'm trying to finish, we haven't.
Oh, the Black Parent Advocate.
Black Parent Advocate. The Art of Warfare. Not yet. Not almost there.
Okay.
Almost.
Can you talk about the psychoacademic Holocaust?
Yes.
And what you mean?
Yes. The psychoacademic Holocaust refers to the 6-stage cycle of death that America has created for Black boys.
6-stage cycle of death.
6-stage cycle of death. And it's for all Black boys. It's for you. It's for me. It's for him. It's for all of us. Rich, poor. You understand? It don't matter. Suburbs, hood. It don't matter. It's for all Black males. See, one thing we got to understand about racism, it does not divide Black people into groups. We divide ourselves into groups. Listen, the white man does not put Barack Obama in a different category than you. He just makes Barack Obama think he's in a different category so he can use him against you. You understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
White folks don't put Black people in groups. We put ourselves in groups. Oprah Winfrey is no different than the rest of us, the white folks. But she thinks she's different because of the way they treat her. Because they're very skilled at making Black people think they're privileged. That's how Bill Cosby got caught up, my North Philadelphia brother. Bill Cosby got to a point where he thought that he had achieved probationary white status. You understand?
Probationary
Black people cannot be probationary whites. You understand? And you got to know this. Because if you're not rooted in who you are when you mingle with these white folks for 20, 30, 40 years, you start thinking, I'm in. You're never in. In the minute you start thinking you in, that's when they clip your feathers. That man is in his 80s, sitting in a regular prison. I know a brother who got homies in there, man. They say it's sad. He's legally blind. So when he go to the bathroom, when he go eat, when he go to a cell, it takes 2 people to help him. But the brothers look out for Bill, though. They're not going to let nobody mess with Bill. So he's safe on the strength of the brothers. But would you want to see your grandfather, 80, 82, in a prison legally blind? Not at all. Got to have somebody wipe his backside in a prison. You understand? But getting back to the psychoacademic Holocaust, stage 1 is miseducation. Deliberate miseducation. Stage 2 is special education. That's when they start with the labels. We need to evaluate. Stage 3, psychiatric medication. Here comes the ADHD, the Ritalin, the Adderall, the Concerta, the Metadate. Stage 4, juvenile incarceration. You're too much for the school. You're too violent, too angry. We're going to put you over here in one of these prison-ran discipline schools. Stage number 5, psychiatric frustration and alienation. This is when a Black boy becomes angry, rageful, resentful, because he sees that he's been mistreated and miseducated this whole time and nobody did anything to help him. That takes us to stage 6, premature extermination at the hands of another black male, suffering from the same debilitating side effects of the psychoacademic Holocaust. And
Yeah.
the reason I call it a Holocaust is because it kills. Listen, there would be no black on black crime if it did not start in the schools. There would be no mass incarceration if it did not start in the schools. If it was up to me, every time a black man is charged with a crime, his white public school teacher would also be charged as an accomplice.
Oh, yeah, that's deep. Yeah, the psychoacademic Holocaust. Now, do people take issue with using the word Holocaust?
Oh, they ask me every time, especially white folks. Well, why do you have to say Holocaust? Because that's exactly what it is. And the reason why white people don't like you to say Holocaust is because they have the European Jewish Holocaust, right?
Yeah.
Adolf Hitler's extermination of the European Jews, which was a bad thing. But you cannot colonize the use of a word. And European Jews think they own the word. That can't nobody
That's the prevailing
use the word
thought, right? If you
Holocaust.
say that word,
Yes.
it seems like they attacking you.
Yes.
But
You
nobody
don't
wants to
own
talk
the
about
word.
our Holocaust.
Well, remember now, not our Holocaust, but our Holocaust, African-American Holocaust. We that Holocaust include one in Germany at the same time of Hitler's. I don't know if you noticed, but 50,000 Africans was murdered with the European Jews.
No, I didn't know that.
50,000 of us died in the internment camps with the Jews.
Is that right?
And no mention is made of us in any Holocaust museum. With
Wow.
all due respect, you cry tears for yours, I'm going to cry tears for mine. My days for crying tears for anybody, for black folk, have long been over.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
I can admit it's wrong.
Yeah.
I can admit it was wrong. But sympathy is reserved for my folks.
Yeah.
Because until y'all start showing sympathy for mine,
Agnostician.
yes.
Now, and you're able to identify these children with so-called learning disabilities.
So-called was the right word.
You know,
And the reason we say
Speak to
so-called is because what? You can't prove it.
you can't prove it.
When you evaluate a child, the tests you give only give you scores. Okay? Those tests cannot verify a disability. The disability is an assumption that you make based on your interpretation of the test material. It is not a fact. It is an opinion. When someone says your daughter has a reading disability, your son has a math disability, he's retarded, autistic, emotionally disturbed, ADHD, that's an opinion. It's not a fact. You can't prove it. If you ever go to a meeting and somebody tells you your son has a reading disability, prove to me that my son has a reading. Well, according to the test, what? The test only tells you where he scored. The test don't tell you what he is.
Exactly.
You see the difference there?
Yeah.
The test only, you go take the fire, you want to be a fireman, you take the test.
Yeah.
You don't pass it. All they can tell you is you didn't score high enough to make the job.
Yeah.
But they can't say you're learning disabled because of your score.
Yeah.
You can't make a qualitative judgment about the intellectual capacity based on the test that's culturally biased and developed by racists.
Yeah. You got a question or comment?
Yeah, Dr. Umar, I played with a lot of brothers that's in the NFL now. I play for Glenville High School, and a lot of brothers that was playing football, they put them in special education classes so that they could be in the NFL today. They felt like the reading levels weren't as high as they should be. But these brothers weren't slow.
Right.
Like you said, the test scores don't decide who you are. They just decide the level of your reading ability.
Exactly.
You know, so I definitely can recognize what you're talking about when you say that, because I was in a school with a lot of brothers that's in the NFL right now to this day, and they had to be in special education classes.
And the reason the coach influenced the school to put them in special ed classes is in special education, you're not graded based on how much you learn. I want to get this right. I want you to get this. In special education, you are not graded based on how much you learn. You are graded based on how much you try.
Whoa.
I need y'all to get this.
Ooh.
Let me give you an example. You're in the 5th grade, you come home with all A's and B's, honor roll. He's in the 5th grade, you come home with all A's and B's, honor roll. You're regular ed. Your A's and B's mean you have achieved and mastered grade level expectations.
Right.
Yours don't mean that. You have an IEP, incarceration education program. So your A's and B's only mean that given the effort you put in trying to improve, we're going to give you A's and B's. You didn't master nothing. You still on the 1st grade level. You can still barely read. So what you doing on the honor roll? Because you tried.
Now, Dr. Umar, I've read that you consultate family and children on issues
all the time. My voicemail probably full now with parents.
Because I guess they see you speak, they hear what you got to say, and now they don't trust the word of the government.
And they shouldn't.
And they want to come to you and
yes.
tell you about their experience and
yes.
hear what you got to say.
Yes.
Talk about those experiences.
Well, for any parent out there who has an issue with their child, if they need consultation with me, all they have to do is email me, Dr. Umar Johnson at yahoo.com. They can also text message me, 215-989-9858, and I will have them text or email me all their paperwork. And I pick up the phone and we go over it together. And they tell me what the problem is, and I tell them exactly how to get out of that problem. And so far, I've had a very high success rate. If they just do what I tell them to do, they always come out on top.
Has it been a situation where somebody came to you and they say, yeah, my son, they say he got ADHD. They say he's a slow learner. They say he's not quick to pick anything up, and then they talk to you about their experience. You read all the paperwork and you find there's nothing of the case. Maybe it was a situation type thing.
Oh, all the time.
That impaired their progress.
Oh, all the time. Even if you take intellectual disability. A lot of children are classified with an intellectual disability, which is mental retardation, and they don't even have it. I see that all the time. I just had a case like that.
Why do you think that they're diagnosed to do that? Do you think it's profit-based?
Well, all special ed is profit-based. Once their name goes into the computer, there's a check getting cut at the end of the month for the school. Special education.
Whoa!
Special education is welfare for the public schools.
Special
education is welfare. Because whenever you put a child in special ed, you get paid.
Wow.
And you get paid every year they in special ed. And the special ed kids are worth twice as much as the regular kids. Let me give you an example. Let's say hypothetically in Cleveland, Ohio, they spend $8,000 a year per child. The minute you end up in special ed, somebody said you autistic, learning disabled, emotionally disturbed, intellectually disabled, ADHD, speech and language, deafness, blindness, brain injury, developmental delay, orthopedic impairment, multiple disability. There's 13 special ed categories federally. Once somebody slap you with a label and say you need special ed, your name goes into the computer, that gets transferred to the State Department of Education in Columbus. And by the end of the month, there's an electronic transfer of funds to the school. This is a welfare check. Special ed is a hustle. Special ed is a racket. Special ed is a business of making money off black kids you know you never taught.
Oh! Wow. That is so
and
deep.
Guess what? If the schools never desegregated in 54, there would have never been a special ed in 75. Special ed was created to resegregate black kids from white ones. Only now you can't say it's because they're black. That's illegal. So now you're going to say he's learning disabled. He's retarded. He's ADHD.
Yeah.
You see the difference? All you do is slap that label, and you'll throw him out the class.
Yeah. You got a comment? Question?
I had a comment. I wanted to agree on that because I'm in high school right now. I'm a high school senior, and before they got us taking AP classes. I mean, like college prep courses, and at the end of the year, you take an advanced placement test to give you the credit for college. And I'll take statistics. Before I went in there, like the school had us do an interview of every African American student in there.
Wow.
And last year it was only 4 of them in there. This year it's only like 3 of us. And the rest of the class is just Caucasian, white. That's it. And like you will see how, and you're right, because you will see how the teacher interact with the white students compared to us. Like all African, well, me, I mean, I ain't gonna say I'm an A student because the class hard. Right now I got a D in there, but a D because the college class is a C. So all the white kids, she makes sure they got A's and B's and make sure they know everything. She inviting them to family dinners, everything. Like they really relate to each other. I really understand what you're saying. Like I even experienced it in elementary. The advanced class is pure white people. Period. No black nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And all my brothers and sisters, we all in these easy classes. Go to reading easy. We reading easy books in the fifth grade. We supposed to be getting ready for middle school.
Yeah.
When we got to middle school, we were still taking below average math class. I never took above math class until I hit the 9th grade. That's the first time I ever took above math class.
In school.
I'm in school still to this day.
Well, remember, the purpose of tests, all tests to get into college, SAT, state tests in grade school, tests to be a fireman, tests to be a lawyer, tests to be a cop. The purpose of testing in America is to deliberately exclude certain groups of people you don't want to get the job.
Well, hold on.
That's the only reason why we got tests.
Well, hold on, Dr. Umar. What about, quality? What about, being having the qualifications?
Don't make the assumption that a paper and pencil test is the best way to assess how well someone has learned. You follow? There's multiple ways you can assess how well someone has mastered information. A paper and pencil test doesn't necessarily do that, but I want to go a step further. There's the curriculum they teach our kids, and then there's the curriculum they test our kids on. The instruction he getting in the class does not prepare him for the test that they're going to give him.
Right now, our percentage of our seniors failing state tests because we have not learned it in class.
Exactly. You were not taught. And nobody's going to blame the teacher for not being able to teach. See, the American white female teacher is the most protected and privileged person in this country because they are the only professional in America who cannot be fired for not knowing how to do their job.
The only way that we can pass is working time.
Wow.
Right, they want to turn you into a slave.
Wow. Sharecropping.
Yeah.
Sharecropping for a diploma.
Now, are you looking to touch on these things in the new book, Black Parent Advocate?
Well, a lot of this is touched on in Psychoacademic Holocaust.
Okay.
If they haven't read Psychoacademic Holocaust, don't even mess with Black Parent Advocates.
Yeah.
You got to get the basics. Psychoacademic Holocaust prepares you for Black Parent Advocate. Because if you read Black Parent Advocate raw, you may still get a lot of it, but a lot of it going to go over your head. You're like, I don't know what this means. You need to have read Psychoacademic Holocaust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need them both. But I want to emphasize my point. Testing replaced the Jim Crow sign. Testing has replaced the Jim Crow sign in America. And I want young blood to stay with me on this. 60 years ago, if they did not want you at the University of Ohio because you're black, they would simply put a sign up and say what? No Negroes allowed.
Right.
They're not allowed to do that no more. Okay. So if I don't want you in Ohio State today, I don't use letters, no Negroes allowed. I use numbers. If you don't have a 1600, don't apply.
Don't apply.
It does the same job. You see, they use the number. That's how they keep our kids out of Harvard and Yale. They put these numbers up. That's how they keep them out of the advanced placement classes.
Hey,
Doc.
Doc.
About the college prep class. If you don't have the score, you can't apply. But if you know,
ain't no lie.
It's always the black children who don't have the score. Because listen, one more. They designed the test. I need you to get this. The tests are designed so black children fail. Now you might ask the question, how the hell can you make a test that black kids fail and white kids pass? Because in testing, there's a process called standardization.
Okay.
Standardization means before we give out the final version, we already tested every question on your test. Let me say it again. Every test, when they give out the Ohio State assessment, you may have never seen before, but this black boys, your age, your grade, your background, who were given that test already. It's called standardization. They sample the items, so they already know which questions the black kid's gonna get wrong. They already know which questions the white kid's gonna get wrong. They already know which questions the Chinese kids are gonna get right. Listen, I participated in standardization. They call you up. I did it with the Wechsler Intelligence Scale for Children, 4th edition. I was a part of the team. They call you up and they say, we need 4 black boys between 3 and 5, single mother household. We need 8 black boys, parents married, $40,000 income. We need 2 12-year-olds, father must be incarcerated. They leave nothing to chance. They hit every possible demographic. And guess what our job is to do?
What?
Test the questions. And then we send the answers back. And then at the main headquarters, they look at the test items that the black kids got right. And they look at test items that the white kids got right. How you think they decide which items go into the final test? The ones we got wrong go in the final test. And the ones the right kids got right go in the final test. What am I telling you? I'm telling you, they already know what we're going to score. They already know. Because not only did they not teach it, they already tested the items. When you get your test, that's not the first time they gave it to you. Right. They don't leave it to chance. So let me tell you why. This is why they can't leave it to chance. Because the only thing that justifies white people getting the opportunity over you, him, me, you, and him is the fact that they outscore us. Let me ask you a question. Let's say, and this is test time right now, right? So let's say every black boy in Ohio in the 5th grade outscores every white boy in Ohio in the 5th grade. You know what that does? That upsets the whole white supremacy power structure. Because now, how do you explain so few black doctors, so many white ones? How do you explain one black man in the engineering program? If the black boys are smarter than the white ones, if they are in the white ones, shouldn't it be more black men in the, you see what I'm saying? So the test must show black kids are inferior. Because the minute the test shows that we are superior, it upsets their entire social hierarchy.
Now, Dr. Umar, you got the Unapologetically African Black College and Consciousness Tour.
Yes, sir.
Can you speak on that?
Yes, that is a tour that I designed to take 11 to 17-year-old brothers and sisters to historically black colleges around the country, but to also expose them to significant points, physical, geographic spaces that are significant to the black struggle and experience. So we not only do we go to Hampton and Howard and Cheney and Lincoln and Bowie and Coppin and Morgan and Maryland Eastern Shore and Dell State, not only do we do all of that, but we also go to Harriet Tubman's home and her grave and Frederick Douglass's grave. We go to the Nat Turner War Trail. We go to Benjamin Banneker's home. We go to the Great Blacks and Wax Museum. We take them to the Ferncliff Cemetery in New York, and we visit the graves of Malcolm X and Betty Shabazz and Dr. Ben and Dr. Khalid Abdul-Muhammad and James Baldwin and Paul Robeson. So they get the college, but they get the consciousness. And that's why we call it the Black College and Consciousness Tour.
Now, and that tour goes overseas also?
Not yet. It's
Not
just
yet?
local. It's domestic now.
Now, Dr. Umar, when you go to these HBUs with these young black children, obviously you receive very well. They you bring in some kids around their facilities because
Yes.
they can turn into students.
Yes.
Is it a funding thing? Do they all fund? Do you do this out of your own merit?
Not a college tour. We do that. I only did it once, and we're about to do it again. That's funded out of my own pocket.
Wow. How real is that? Yeah. How real is that? What do you think of people like Minister Farrakhan?
Oh, tremendous respect for Minister Farrakhan. You know, he's an elder now, so I really wouldn't expect of him what I would expect of someone my own age. You know, but I'm grateful for his 60 years of consistency, being a voice. You know, he's probably been the most consistent voice that we have had. We believe in freedom of religion. We don't have a problem with you being Muslim, Christian, or anything. Our issue is whether or not your religion interferes with your loyalty to your race.
And how do you determine that in clinical research?
You just look at what people believe religiously. Let me give you an example. Most Muslims and Christians, not Nation of Islam, but Orthodox. Most Orthodox Muslims and Christians who are black are colorblind. They believe color don't matter, right?
Right.
They also believe that somebody who is not of your religion is more your, somebody who is not of your religion is not your brother and sister.
Yeah.
But a foreigner who don't know you, can't stand your guts, is your brother. What your religion is. You, my brother, more than any Arab just because he's a Muslim, or any Anglo-Saxon just because he's a Christian. You understand? And that's where religion starts to interfere with black consciousness. Simply put, the white man took away 2 million years of African culture and gave you 2,000 years of Christianity and Islam.
Oh,
Everything Adolf Hitler did to the Jews, he learned it from what America did to the blacks. Everything Adolf Hitler did to the Jews, he learned it watching what America did to the blacks. He borrowed it from America. And that's why when World War II was over, guess what America did? There was an Operation Paperclip. They went to Nazi Germany and got all the top Nazi scientists and brought them back to America to work on AIDS and Ebola and IQ testing and eugenics and mass incarceration. America went and got the German doctors and brought them back over here to perfect the racial extermination program.
yeah. I just had a conversation with a Nuwapian Nation brother, and he was talking about some of the same things, how they went and got the German scientists and brought them back here. Matter of fact, he went a little further, saying that those scientists were designated in Area 51. You know, I don't know how true that is. Maybe y'all know. You know, but yeah, that's so. How do we defeat this stuff, Dr. Umar, when we know there's a school to prison pipeline? We know it's 6 cycles that lead you to basically a dead end, you know?
Here's the Achilles heel. Black people are $2 trillion people.
You mean in their
our gross national product is $2 trillion. That makes us the richest group of Africans on the planet, the 10th richest nation in the world. You spend $2 billion on Air Jordan every year. You spend $4 billion on alcohol every year. We spend $20 billion on weave and perm every year. $2 billion on Timberland boots every year. $1 billion on McDonald's every year. You buy twice the amount of Mercedes Benzes as white folks, even though you only have 1/3 of their wealth every year. The reason people don't feel sorry for blacks in America, I want to be clear. The reason nobody feels sorry for black America is because black America doesn't feel sorry enough for itself. We are the only people of our color who could solve our problems ourselves with no government intervention. Why don't we do it? Because although you are physically an African, biologically an African, genetically an African, phenotypically an African, spiritually an African, you are psychologically a European. You think like the white man, you feel like the white man, you believe like the white man, you operate like the white man. You understand? So the reason we can't do for ourselves is because we look at ourselves through blue eyes and blonde hair.
That's real.
In other words, until you kill the nigger, the African will never be free. You can take the slave out of slavery, but until the slave takes the slavery out of himself, you'll never be free. Here's the thing. The most critical things that must be done for black liberation cannot be done by white people. The most critical things that must be done for African liberation cannot be done with money. I believe in reparations. We're entitled to reparations. We're going to get our reparations, but guess what? External reparations mean nothing until there is first internal reparations and a spiritual restoration. Until you fix your self-hate, until you bring about unity, until the black men and black women work through their issues, until we show our children that we love them, not as individuals, but as a community. I don't care how much money the white man give you. It won't work for you because your biggest problems are not financial. You're a $2 trillion people. You don't even need his reparations, truth be told.
Right.
You don't even need it.
Don't even need it.
And with that being said, if you get reparations, it won't be for you. It'll be through you. But it'll go to the Arabs, the Latinos, the Mexicans, the Jews. You're going to give it right back to the European. Give a Negro $1 million today, Mercedes-Benz will be richer tomorrow. You see?
Yeah.
You got to change the way we think before you change anything else about us. And that's what's wrong. We want to hurry up. Let's organize. Let's fight. Let's do that. But until you change the peculiar characteristics of the Negro psyche, until you exercise the cracker from the consciousness of the African, the African will never be free to behave like an African.
Well, you know, but how many of us are brave enough or even, you know, want to develop into ourselves to where we want to correct?
Oh, we don't want that. Black people don't want reality. Listen, deception and imagination is a distractor that black people depend on. Reality.
I said
listen,
that.
Listen.
Yeah.
Reality is what we live, but we don't want to accept it. So we pull up out and stick a pipe in there called White Jesus.
Or NFL or NBA.
NBA, gangster rap, shopping, food, white girls, you name it. The one thing black people do not want is a realistic assessment of their problems. They will kill you if you try to get them to see their world as it is. Woo! We don't want to see the world as it is. Why you think the church is still successful? Why you think the black politicians are still successful? Because the church sells you a dream after you die, and the politicians sell you a dream after you vote.
Are we afraid? I mean, like here.
No, it's fear, but there's something greater than fear. You don't want the responsibilities that liberation brings.
Oh!
Black people want to be free, but you don't want the freedom of liberation. Does the black man really want the white man to stop giving the black woman food stamps, housing, health care?
Because you'll be forced to do it.
Stops, that means you got to do it. If the white man shut down his public schools, are you going to teach your kids? Right. See, we can talk about how the white man is keeping us down.
Yeah.
But are you willing to step in his place? And guess what? The black woman will never respect us until we step in his place.
Well, speak to that. It seems like nowadays the
black woman is the only woman that out-earns and out-educates her man in this country. No other woman out-earns and out-educates their man. She's the only woman who can make decisions about your child without your permission.
By design?
By design. Willie Lynch turned a man into a woman and turned a woman into a man.
War on poverty, Lyndon Johnson.
Absolutely. What a war on
take
poverty.
A man out the home.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And make the woman dependent on us.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of black women don't have problems with white men. You give a black woman a compliment, she'll roll her eyes.
Yeah.
That white man give her a compliment, she won't forget it the rest of her life.
Joy.
Yeah. Right. Because how can your woman respect you if she has an employer and then when she go to church, she has a spiritual God? Yeah.
And the white man loves it. Because if the black woman don't want the black man, and if the black man don't want the black woman, that automatically spells the extermination of the black family. And the white man is even proliferating this, because when you look at all the commercials and TV shows, it's all interracial couples and gay couples. There's no more true black couples. When the last time you seen a black man and a black woman on a commercial? When the last time you seen a black man and a black woman on the TV show? Is gay?
Look what they did to the guy that was championing that bill from Cosby, from where you're from. He was championing putting a positive image out there of black people.
Yeah, but the white man, see, in order to kill off black people, you got to kill off black love. Yeah. In order to kill off black people, you got to kill off black love. And they've done a good job killing off the black love.
That's why I ain't had no problem putting out shows like Jerry Springer, where it showed
that show should even exist. Only thing worse than Jerry Springer is the reality shows. The reality shows have done more to damage the image of the black woman in mainstream media than anything else we've ever seen. Now, reality shows are there to destroy the black woman's image. Gangster rap is there to destroy the black man's image. And to that end, we are the only group in human history marked for extermination. We're the only ones who voluntarily participates in the public extermination of your image. No other people have ever participated in the public destruction of the way people see them.
People need
Look
to
at these
think
goofy ass gangster rappers we got. Goofy foolish Negroes with all these chains on, don't own nothing, no power, no wealth, gang banging, fighting, Louis rags and Gucci bags and Gucci shoes, all this money, and we ain't got no damn schools. All this money, we ain't got no hospitals. Now, let me tell you this. This next election coming up for president, the Democratic Party gonna pull some of them goofy ass rappers up and they gonna make them the spokespersons for the black elite. Hear me out.
They was already doing that with
You gotta remember, right now, this is the first time in American history, 400 years, you don't have an identified black leader. Sharpton is not seen as a leader to millennials. Jesse Jackson is not seen as a leader to millennials. Minister Farrakhan is of age, still seen as a leader, but not necessarily to millennials. Too much space between. Out of touch, right? This is the first time in black America the white man don't have a leader he can go to sit the youth down. It's good and bad. It's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because now we got an opportunity to bring forth fresh new leadership. But the white man don't want you to do that because the last time you brought forth fresh new leadership, you popped up with Huey P. Newton and A-Trap Brown and Stokely Carmichael and Fred Hampton. They don't need you choosing your own leaders because they tend to be too real. So since there's no mainstream bougie Negroes they can make your leader, because nobody's going to follow Cornel West. Nobody's going to follow Michael Eric Dyson. Nobody's following Mark Lamont Hill. You follow what I'm saying? They don't have that type of street credit.
Yeah.
So if they don't have no bougie leaders that they can put in charge of black youth, and they ain't got no church leaders they can put in charge of black youth, and they ain't got no established black leaders they can put in charge of black youth, who is the white man going to put out front to be your spokesperson? I'm going to tell you, your football players, your basketball players, your actors, and your rappers. These same goofy rappers who everybody dancing to, they're going to be the ones who are going to be propped up and put on the pedestal to put black people back to sleep. In other words, our next war, not physical, but political and intellectual, we're going to have to go to war against rap. I'm telling you right now.
Can I expound on that?
Have to shut them down. Yes.
Can I expound on that?
Use them against us. It's coming.
Can I expound on that? Now, we just had a gangster rapper pass, R.I.P. to Nipsey Hussle.
Yes, sir.
And I could not understand why did they want to make his image, Michael Jackson, he went around the world and took care of people. This guy was from Compton, and I love his music, and I love what he stood for, but I could not understand for the life of me why they was promoting a gang banger so hard and making this man a martyr, and nobody really had never heard of him. Nobody really never got to touch him like that.
But he was major in terms of his community service, though. Like Nipsey had went further and farther than most contemporary rappers to give back to their neighborhood.
He did do that, but I couldn't understand why it was such, because you had people like Michael Jackson who passed. You had people like, let's say, who else? They get rid of all of the top dogs like Bill Cosby and all that. So they got rid of everybody. But I just couldn't understand. It was bothering me psychologically because it was like this dude got killed by a gangbanger in his own community, and then they turned around and they praised him like a god that he is. He truly is a god.
I didn't see anything wrong with the memorial, though.
I didn't see nothing wrong with the memorial.
You just thought it got more coverage than
but
Michael
I thought
Jackson.
it got more coverage than Michael Jackson, who is a world-renowned person who goes around and takes care of Africa. He does stuff in America. They didn't do the same thing. They didn't put him in the White House. They didn't give him a proclamation. They didn't do none of that.
A lot of that, though.
And that bothered me because I couldn't understand it.
I see a lot of that, though, had to do with your black president. Barack Obama chose not to celebrate Michael Jackson the way he should have been celebrated because of the accusations of the pedophilia.
I thought that it was propaganda for them to get all of the black gang leaders together to be able to see who is who.
Oh, that may be true.
This is just me. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm one of the biggest ones.
True. But I love the way they sent them off, though. It's very appreciative.
No, it was beautiful service. I love Nipsey Hussle
you
music.
talking
I
about
love what he
Minister
stood for.
Farrakhan and how he handled it?
But I couldn't
I didn't see that
understand.
beat.
I couldn't understand
Well,
how
remember,
that
Mike
happened.
wasn't going to get that, even though Mike was on a whole nother level,
Yeah.
entertainment-wise. I mean, he's the only artist in history to sell 1 billion albums. Imagine 1 billion albums. Right, but my point is, the reason they wasn't going to deal with Mike is because Michael Jackson was public enemy #1 to the music industry. He owned the Beatles catalog, or a big part of it. He owned a big part of Elvis's catalog. He was going to go totally independent, and then he was going to start his own record label.
Yeah.
And he was going to basically sabotage all the majors. Michael Jackson was on the verge of revolution.
Yeah.
That's why they killed him.
Yeah.
Him, Jay Prince, Suge Knight.
But Mike and Prince, Rogers Nelson Prince, Purple Rain Prince, those were probably the two most, and Sam Cooke. Those three were probably the 3 most gangster musical personalities we've had. No rapper comes close. No rapper has had the balls of Michael Jackson. No rapper has had the balls of Prince. None of them.
Talk about it.
They talk how gangster they are, but in that boardroom, they get real effeminate in there. Prince and Mike, even though they was effeminate in their posture, they was gangsters in the boardroom.
Yeah, that's real talk.
You had a black man owning the rights to the most successful and popular white music group in world history, the Beatles.
Right.
Mike owned the rights. See, Michael Jackson wasn't broke. He just didn't have no liquid cash. All of his wealth was tied up into assets. It's like if you got $1 billion house, you ain't poor, but you got to liquidate that house
In order to get some money out of it.
Exactly. That's where Mike was in trouble. Is Sony sabotaged Michael Jackson's last album, Invincible. They sabotaged it on purpose because they wanted him to sell back the Beatles catalog in exchange for the debt.
Well,
and Mike said, I'm not selling you that. That's why he was going to do the tour in Europe to raise the liquid cash to pay off the debt to Sony so they could keep the album.
Well,
Sony Records killed Michael Jackson and Warner Brothers killed Prince.
You know, Joe.
Sony Records killed Michael Jackson and Warner Brothers killed Prince.
Well, Joe Jackson said as much in a candid conversation that we had. He said Mike was murdered. He said he was the first one to say
his
it.
sister LaToya was all over it.
He said I know everybody thinks LaToya said it first, but I was the first one to say it.
His mother said it first, actually. She said in the interview that my son told me that they're going to kill me for what I know. For what I know.
Then we talked to Joe. T talked to Joe and he said the same.
Yeah.
Well, they killed Mike.
Yeah.
But see, Mike messed up because he surrounded himself with non-African people. He surrounded himself with non-African people. Prince messed up because he went back to the negotiating table. Warner Brothers wanted to remaster Purple Rain for the 25th or 30th anniversary. And they said, if you let us remaster Purple Rain, let us put Purple Rain out for the anniversary, we will give you the rights to your whole catalog. And Prince was like, wait a minute, I've been fighting for the rights to my catalog my whole career. Remember he had slave tattooed on his cheek?
Yeah,
He's been fighting his whole life. And Warner Brothers said, listen, let us remaster and republish Purple Rain 25 years. Just give us that. You can have everything else back. Prince said, okay. That's all they needed, a chance to get in. What did they say? Tuck your iron fist in a velvet glove. The velvet glove was his master's. Prince wanted them all his life. They never intended him to give him the masters. He ain't got the masters now. And they took his unpublished material. That was the whole, they didn't care about the stuff that already been released. They wanted all that new shit Prince never put out there. Because Prince and Tupac had more unpublished music than published music. It was worth more dead than alive. It was worth more. Talking about Prince died of the flu when he was riding his bike outside the day before. Who you know with the flu is riding a bike in cold-ass Minneapolis. They killed both of them. But see, I wish Prince and Mike would have teamed up, though. That's that ego. See?
Well, let me ask you
That's
something.
that ego.
Let me ask you
The
something.
only leaders we had that was willing to bury the torch and work together was Martin Delaney and Frederick Douglass, but then they split again. Malcolm and Martin.
I was about to say that, Malcolm and Martin.
That's why they had to kill Malcolm when they killed Malcolm, because as soon as King got out of jail, they was going to meet. Remember, Malcolm met with Coretta while King was in jail. Malcolm met with Coretta, and they agreed to come together. Malcolm was going to run the North. King was going to run the South. And the FBI told J. Edgar Hoover, them two Negroes is about to unite. They killed Sam Cooke. 3 weeks later, they killed Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Him and Sam Cooke was killed 3 weeks apart. They was killing, they had to kill Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke owned his own masters, and Sam Cooke told Malcolm and King, once y'all are fighting and come together, I'm going to fund the whole damn movement. That's when we used to be men. Not this YouTube shit. Ain't nobody doing nothing on YouTube, making videos all day.
Has anybody in the hip hop community reached out to you that want to be?
Oh, yeah, they reach out. They come to my lectures backstage, hang out. They hit me on Instagram. I follow you, brother. Keep it up. I watch you every day. I can't stop. But not one of them has wrote a donation check yet.
Yeah, y'all making them songs, baby. Y'all need to hit the cash
Tell
app.
me how much you love me. Write a damn check.
Right. Right.
We need money. Don't need no damn well wishes.
Now you spoke to.
But they scared though. They scared.
Speak to
The hip hoppers are scared.
Anyway. Did they know that?
I know.
Speak to the curriculum you're planning at the academy.
Political and military. We got to teach them white. They got to understand racism. They got to understand how black people went from gods to the gutter. Okay, we went from gods to the gutter. How did we get there? Because you're not going to convince a black youth that we were great unless you can explain how we went from greatness to the gutter. How did we go from the pyramids to the projects to the prisons? You got to help them understand that.
Yeah.
You see? So we got to teach them that. See, we talk about history, but we don't talk about political science. My undergrad degree is political science.
I mean, I was pretty good in political science in college too. You know what I mean?
Political science is understanding the contemporary chess game. Who controls what and how? How is Africa the richest country minerally, but the people in the poorest? Europe is the most minerally dense, minerally depleted continent, but they got the most money. How did they get all the money? They ain't got nothing.
Plagiarism.
So they took over the world.
Yeah.
White man decided, I don't want this ice no more. And I'm going to do whatever I got to do. And then once I do what I do to take over the world, I'm going to change the history books so nobody will know how I took the world. Imagine that. You spend 1,000 years taking over the world. And then you change the historical record.
Yeah.
So nobody will know how you took it. So people will look at you as a savior.
Are you combating that? Are you documenting like your travels and dealings? Are you, or encouraging it at least, or what?
What you mean? I ain't
Like,
following.
you know, like it's real important to be a black historian now and to record the record straight.
Well, we want one of those classrooms in my school gonna be a museum. It's gonna be a Pan-African museum.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm talking about.
We got to do a museum because do you know black folks don't really have no museums?
We got to.
Where do you go in Ohio if you want to see the documented black struggle that's not funded by white folks?
Hold on, Dr. Umar. We had individual on from the African American History Museum here, right?
Who funds it?
Look, when she was on the show, listen, when she was on the show, halfway through the show, she got a call and she started crying because they didn't want her on the show anymore. And then they came back months later asking for a $4,000 donation for the roof.
You realize that 95% of all black historical sites in America are under the United States Federal Park Service? They got Frederick Douglass House. They got Carter G. Woodson House. We don't even own our sacred spaces. Booker T. Washington gave us Tuskegee. Do you know that Booker T. founded Tuskegee as an independent school? That when Alabama, listen, the state of Alabama told Booker T, we're going to give you an annual budget. Booker T said, I don't want your money. This is my school. And guess who owns Tuskegee today? Alabama.
Wow.
We don't own nothing.
Well, you know it's a land war. And that's what we got to understand. We got to realize it's a land war, and it comes down to, we can educate ourselves. We can do all this good education. But for me, the most educated people still can't help us. And you know why I feel like that? It's because you got people that can just blow the whole
for everything you've gotten in America. Everything you've got. This is what the black bourgeoisie don't want you to know. Everything we got in America, we fought for. You can't name one thing that we got that was relevant that we didn't spill blood. You got out of slavery, you spilled blood. You got the Civil Rights Bill, you spilled blood. You got the Voting Rights Act, you spilled blood. Jim Crow, you spilled blood. You have never voted for a single thing you got that's relevant. Give me one thing we got through voting. I'm listening.
Yeah, real
Give me
talk.
one thing black folks ever got through voting. Not fair. If you want to change it, you got to spill blood.
Yeah. Well, the ones that's rock to sleep and say, well, we had a black president.
Who did what? Who took everything you fought and gave it to homosexuals. Barack Obama took everything black people died for the past 100 years and gave it to the homosexuals. He didn't do one thing for black people. Name one thing he did just for black folks. I can name 3 things he did just for homosexuals. I can name 2 things he did just for gays. I can name 3 things he did for immigrants. Name me one thing that house nigga Coon did for us. Nothing. And you got black people running around calling him great. For what? What did he do great? Because he sat in the seat?
Well, I'm going to say one thing.
What was the one thing you think you did great?
For me, it's the image of black family.
Come on. Okay. Kind of
Speak to that, Dr. Umar.
That's not doing nothing. That's not an act. That's not. Okay. Let's objectively quantify that.
Okay.
The image of a black man, as if we never saw one, right? But anyway.
Family, I'm talking about.
Okay, you saw a black family. Here's my question to you. How did that translate to higher graduation rates? How did that translate to lower prison rates? How did that translate to a higher black entrepreneurial rate? How did that translate to a reduced police genocide rate? Can you name one statistic that went up as a result of Obama being
I can't. You got me on that.
That's real talk.
Empty symbolism. Empty. Obama should go right next to Jesus, white Christ in the church. Because just like him, he ain't nothing but an empty symbol that does
So
nothing.
hold on. If we get another black candidate,
I don't want another black president. Because you Negroes gonna go to sleep for 8 more years. I don't want to see another black person in that seat. So y'all can go to sleep. Thank God Hillary didn't win. That would have went to sleep even deeper than Obama.
So it's already saying that you're glad Trump won, so we'll get a wake.
I'm telling you, I don't care who the president is as long as they're not black. Because our people are too politically immature that they will think that they're getting something just because the person sitting there is black. We don't have the political IQ to deal realistically in an America with a black president. Your illusions of inclusion starts deceiving your perception. I don't want no black president. I don't even need a black mayor. I don't need a black governor. I don't need a black U.S. rep. I don't need a black senator. I want black power.
And
I want black power. And don't none of that equal black power. Don't none of that equal black power. I want black power. Not no damn black puppet.
What is the path? What is the path to black power?
Economic and political solidarity. Strength is in numbers. The white men only respect 3 things: blood, money, or numbers. Organized numbers, blood, or money.
Real talk.
And guess what? You're going to have to do all 3. You're going to have to die, you're going to have to pay, and you're going to have to organize. Because every year we sit on our ass and do nothing, we fall further behind, which means that's how much harder our great-grandkids going to have to fight for our liberation. We are the most pathetic generation of blacks ever in American history. You can't show me another group of black folks like the one we got now. From 1970 to 2020, this is an embarrassment.
I want to ask you something real quick, because
what have we done to contribute to the black struggle since Dr. King died? Give me one thing we done. You can't give me nothing. You ain't got no Harriets. You ain't got no Fannie Lou Hamers. You ain't got no Ida B. Wells. You ain't got no Fred Hamptons, no Rap Brown. You ain't got no SNCC. You ain't got no CORE. You ain't got no Freedom Riders. You ain't got no Garvey. All you got is basketball, football, white women loving, blonde hair, living in the suburbs, white university, Mercedes-Benz driving ass niggas.
Yeah, what are you? Yeah,
I
what are your
appreciate
thoughts
it,
on that?
Captain.
You did?
Because he took a stand. But you know what was sad about that?
What's that?
None of those cowardly football players
Stood with him.
stood with our brother. None of them. And then the athletes we watch on TV, Shaquille O'Neal, Deion Sanders, Galen Rose, Stephen A. Smith, Coons had the audacity to side with the American flag and the Star Spangled Banner than to side with their brother. This man took a knee for police genocide. And you got the audacity to say out of your mouth that he ain't got no business protesting the flag? So you mean to tell me that stinking dirty rag is more important than the life of Trayvon, more important than the life of Eric, more important than the life of Tamir Rice, more important than Sandra Bland? A flag is worth more than life? To hell with that flag. And to hell with them coons. That was a test run on how the white man gonna use your athletes and entertainers to go against you. The whole NFL and NBA went against the hood on Colin Kaepernick, and we ain't say nothing about it. Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, Stephen A. Smith, they should have never felt comfortable enough to say on national TV that he was wrong for not standing for the flag. To hell with that damn flag. Our blood built this country. We don't owe nobody no damn sympathy. That's why I came up with the unapologetically African movement. I am what I am because I am, and I don't care if you don't like it. We got to stop being afraid to be us, because if you're going to die, they're going to get you anyway.
They're going to get you anyway.
Niggas trying to live. The white man say you're going anyway. Stop. What did Jesus say? Those who lose their life for my sake shall find it. And those who try to conserve their life will lose it. Harriet Tubman lived to be almost 100 years old. She had the scariest, most dangerous job in American history. How did that woman live to be 100 years old? Frederick Douglass beat up his slave master and ran away. He lived to be what? Almost 80 years old. 80 up in what? Look at how the people who lived dangerous lives became almost 100. And you got other folks whose life wasn't dangerous at all. Get hit by a car, walk in the street.
Now you brought up something in our talks. You said you fear an incoming war with gangster rappers. So before you leave,
they're going to set up the black celebrity class.
Can you hedge that off here? Because there's a lot of gangster rappers here in Cleveland.
Well, I mean mainstream successful gangster rappers is who the power structure are going to use to be the new spokespersons for Black America, because the black bourgeoisie can no longer keep the attention of the masses.
Right.
So if you ain't got no leaders, who you gonna get? The only people black youth listen to are their artists and entertainers. So they're gonna, have you noticed that we only people who, when they need to get an opinion about how we feel, they go get comedians, actors, football players. When the Jews have a problem, do they go to Seinfeld ass? The white folks got a problem. Do they go get Tom Cruise and ask him what? No. But when black people got a problem, they get our athletes and entertainers. It's the perfect person because they're popular enough for black people to trust them. And they're also scared enough